I shifted my entire life around figuring out how do I help him. So he got diagnosed with autism.
He went to a doctor.
Yeah, and the guy's like, there's nothing you can do. It's therapy, it's this and that.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck you, And I had this like great real estate business, but I had this idea. And for 2.5 years, I did absolutely nothing until that day because of you. But I was sitting at one of the events and you were just talking about, you've got something on your heart. You've just got to go. And you just saying, yes, I'm going to go. And no matter what stage you're in, just going all in. I just love and appreciate you more than you will ever know.
My friends, welcome here to another episode of the Date Your Wife podcast. We're here in Miami, and I have a treat in store for you. Now, they say that all movements do not begin by the crazy man on the hill dancing by himself. If you haven't seen this video on YouTube, just search it up, the beginning of a movement. Nope, it's when there's one other guy who decides that the one crazy guy dancing is crazy enough to dance with him. So 13 years ago, there was a man who's on this show with his beautiful fiancée who said yes. Interestingly enough, he didn't just say yes. He was the first person to say, let's go, and pivoted the entire direction of Wake Up Warrior. Everything we were doing, which at the time was me. There was no one else but me. And a man by the name of Marty Orificio. Orificio. I've known this guy for 17 years. He's a friend. He's a brother. I've watched him go through highs and lows and across the Miami. And he has brought his beautiful fiancée, Alyssa, here with us.
Elise.
Where does there's no
No.
There's no
Elise. Well, that's easier. That's
I was
easier.
like, I think he's trying to make an accent out of it.
Yeah.
I am. You are
Trying to
going
add
to
the
have
Italian.
a new last name.
Yes.
Some women don't take on the last name.
Well,
You're
love
taking it?
I love it. Yeah.
Can you say it?
Orificio.
Yeah,
How are
gotta
you
do-
supposed to
Orificio.
say it? Well, how's it actually
What is?
pronounced?
Where are you from? What is your?
Orificio.
Is that how it is?
Orificio.
Orificio?
I believe so.
Is it Italian? Is it?
Yeah,
it's
Italian.
Italian.
When we go to Italy, they say Orificio.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they are like,
They love it.
The name has high status in
Yeah.
Italy.
Okay.
And here everyone's like, what the heck is
Orpheus?
that?
Orificio.
And they go, Orificio.
There we go. You guys said it together.
Literally, like everyone you say the name to, they're like,
Orificio.
I just got to hang out more in Italy.
Status.
I feel really
Is this
important.
name of like a drug lord or like some king or
It
something?
means jeweler or
gold.
goldsmith.
Gold.
Yeah.
Oh, money
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Money
Money
guy.
guy.
Yeah.
Something they expect more from you. Did you get the did you get the flower people there? The guys that hand out the flowers and then force you to give them a tip?
Oh, no.
No.
We avoided them.
Yeah, they got me
walk-
the first few times.
We have a move. If
Okay.
you pretend like you're sneezing a lot when they walk up, they don't want to get near you.
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay.
Like, just back up. Just like,
That is the move.
Yeah.
Orificio. Okay, first big question. Who saw who first? Like, who was the one, who got on whose radar first? And how did this happen?
I saw her first.
Okay.
Now, she was working at the YMCA training, and she was a director there. And I would go there on off days, and for 4 years, I saw this woman. 4 years. And I was like, wow, she is really cute. But it was at times where I was in relationships, coming out of relationships, and it was a very weird thing because for whatever reason, I felt that there was going to be something significant with her. I didn't know what. And I was like, I didn't want to go up when I wasn't in a place where I could actually like be present and like be someone that like we could be together. And plus I was like, she's probably a little too young for me. So 4 years.
How far are you in age?
Were you talking?
Yep.
10.
10 years? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Were you talking at that time?
No.
So for 4 years, you were a voyeur.
I'd just go to the gym.
Just
and
look
I'd
at
see her.
And-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go to the gym extra times just so you could see her?
No, but I was like training for like the world's toughest mutters and those.
Yeah.
And I would be on like a stepper for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know.
So and were you out on the floor like running like as a trainer at the gym?
I was a trainer, a director, so I was
Oh,
like
okay.
everywhere.
All over.
Yeah.
Did you notice him?
Yes, but only once.
In year 4.
In 4 years, you noticed him
For
once.
3.5
When he
years,
came
I
up and
didn't
said
even notice
hi.
you. You were just another guy.
I noticed him, and I went up to him. So one of my employees was having a yoga event,
Okay.
and it was like her 8th year of being an employee. So I went to like present her award in front of all of the people at this event, and he was at the yoga class. So I like was just kind of in the back of the room, like waiting for the class to start, and I see him, and I was like, wow, he's really handsome. And I was like, I have to go talk to him. And I didn't know what to say, so I like just walked up and I was like, hi, like I've seen you around, like what's your name? Hi. Do I know
Yeah.
you?
And then I was with my mom, so I'm like,
Your
hey.
mom was at the yoga class?
I was like, hey, I'm Marty. Do you want to meet my mom? Started it off right away.
You're like, listen,
meet my mom?
I've been waiting for this moment for 4 years for you to come talk to me.
Yeah.
And here's my mom. I brought her. We're just doing this thing
Meeting
right.
the family.
Yeah, just
Let's go.
like that.
Okay, so you spark right there at the gym. We're at the YMCA after 4 years of stalking. You finally approach the stalker.
That's a little.
Hey, I get it. It's work, dude. It's work. You did it. You put in the work. She responded. Okay, so when do you go on the first dates, and when does this start becoming a thing?
So that was January of 2020.
Okay.
And I like didn't get his last name. So I asked everybody around the gym, I was like, do you guys know who this is? I went into our database and looked up Marty, and there's 300 Martys. So I couldn't figure out who he was. So anyway,
She was stalking me at
I
that
started
point.
stalking
Exactly.
him.
Yeah.
She started smiling and dialing, calling all
Yeah.
300 Martys.
And then I didn't really see him around. And then March hit, we shut down, and I was furloughed. So I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I started looking for a job. And my employee, the yoga instructor, was like, oh, I have a friend. He owns a supplement company. I know you have a background in marketing and you're in school for nutrition. It'd be a perfect fit. I was like, Marty, I was like, well, yeah, I'm interested. I want to do that. That's perfect. But I was like, I don't know who Marty is. She's like, you've met him before. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
you got hooked. So the yoga instructor was key in this entire play.
Very key.
Are we still friends with the yoga instructor?
we are.
We are. So she was a great connector. So she connects all the Martys. She filters it down. So you go apply, but you realize before you go talk to him that this is the Marty?
When I applied, I didn't really know. And then I started looking up the company and I saw his face. And I was like, oh,
Retargeting.
I
We
got
had
hit
a
with
heavy retargeting budget of me doing videos. So
I got hit with all the ads and I was like, oh, it's that Marty. And yeah, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh.
Did that change how you felt when you were going in and realized you went to go apply for a job that it was actually the guy you thought was hot from yoga?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So did she get the job right out of the gate?
well, I was feeling the same way, and I'm like, Marty, you have to be professional. Don't use. And so she went through this battery of interviews, and then it gets to where I do a comprehensive interview, which is typically a 3-hour deal, and we sit down for 3 hours, and we both walked away, and we get really deep. And she's like, went back and told her roommates, it felt like a date. And I was like, it felt like a date. It was very weird energy, in a good way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so she started on a Wednesday. And I noticed her in my office, hanging out a little bit more. And I'm like, is she flirting with me? What's going on? She's talking a little bit too much.
I thought he was flirting with me.
Yeah.
So
You guys
you
are
were
both
thinking,
trying not to cross the line while wanting to cross the line.
Yeah, we didn't want to cross the line.
So did you make out work?
No.
No, we waited till Friday, which was on the third day. And we go out, and everyone had left. It was COVID, so everything was kind of shut down. And we were like,
Our coworkers, let's go grab drinks.
go grab drinks.
Yeah,
Let's
why
go.
not?
So we hung out the whole night, and right before she was going to go back up to her room, we hugged. And then
I was hugging him like this. I was like, all right. Turned my head and I reached up and kissed him. And
now,
I
right
made
when
the
she
first
kissed me,
move.
her legs gave out. She literally
He had to catch me.
she had that
Seriously?
moment
Yes.
in the movies where she
I was like,
kissed me and she fell. And I caught her and we sat down on a curb and I was like, well, that was intense.
Look at all the buildup. It's
Yeah.
4.5 years for you waiting for this moment.
Yeah. But
Okay, so this obviously not a normal connection right out of the gate.
Yeah.
What did it feel like? to you? Like to feel this with her, what was it like? What did it feel like for you as a man?
It just felt right. Like, it's hard to describe, but it's like a really weird circumstance, and it just felt right. And I felt like I was like going against what I should do as like a boss and stuff like that. And like I shouldn't. And I was like really careful going into it because I was like, I don't want to have any type of power dynamic.
Yeah.
Where she feels like, oh, if this doesn't work out,
I don't have a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, if this is going to work, it has to work on the right footing, and like we have to be equals, and so we spent a lot of time talking about that, but it was overwhelming. Like the emotion and everything was just like a tsunami.
Had you ever felt like this before? Like this way?
No.
Yeah. So it was new. It was new and fresh for you too.
Yeah.
Had you ever felt this way?
No.
What would describe in your words? At least, like, what was it like for you as a woman to have that kind of connection?
Just, yeah, it felt right. It felt connected and open and like raw.
Like a magnet.
Yeah. Yeah. And like all my friends were like, you can't date your boss. Don't do that. And I was like, well, like, I still have another job once. Like, I was like, I'd rather like risk it and have a boyfriend and this like partner that like I just felt so drawn to. I didn't know why. It felt really significant. So,
Yeah. And there was like a period where it was so overwhelming, and I'm like, all right, she's the one, this and that. And then I was like, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. And I really wanted to, having been divorced before, you want to make sure that you're setting up a solid foundation. And so the big thing was, instead of like me projecting on to her what I thought she was, I was like, we have to be in relationship and go through things to show each other who we really are. Because in my head, you're filled with oxytocin, you're just, but it wasn't that can still continue, but like that's an overwhelming where it kind of blocks your logic.
Yeah.
So I was trying to like pump the brakes. But then after 3 weeks, I went and took her up to visit my family.
we really pumped the brakes.
Pump the brakes for 3 weeks.
We did. Like,
But how
after
much-
3 days of
Take on this one, because like you go back, you were married before. How long were you married to Sandy?
8 years.
8 years. Okay. So when you contrast the experience you had there to this, I mean, you had done an incredible amount of work on yourself. I was part of watching you do so much work on yourself. When you're going into, I mean, because I got, Danielle and I got married, I've been divorced, but dude, I was like 20, like I met her, I was 27, no, I was 25, and I had been married for like a year and a half. I was still dumb in my 20s, like I didn't know the fuck I was doing. Talk through this dynamic, like for you and then also for you, like both sides, because post divorce, new relationships, I mean, this is becoming like, it's the thing. Like most couples that we meet have like somebody, one of the two or both have gone through either a very significant relationship where they were with someone for a long time, but then they found this. And the other thing they were in led them to this, but it wasn't this. So how much did like the past of what you've done lead to also this almost strategy for how you guys are connecting in the beginning? Because you sound it's deeply emotional, but it's also super logical too.
Yeah. It's everything, because, I got together and I had met Sandy when I was 19, and you don't know who you are. I have tremendous amount of dysfunction and patterns, and we both do. And like our dysfunction matches, and it's, like you guys are a great example of sticking with it, working through it, both becoming different versions of yourself. And, unfortunately that didn't happen with me. But it gave me this opportunity to analyze that relationship and say, okay, where could I have done better? And I basically stripped myself down to nothing and like rebuilt on what I wanted and what I thought a good partner would be. Because I wasn't a place where someone could be safe and come and talk. And, I was never, real, raw, relevant. I was never real, but I was real as I could be, but I was never like completely open and transparent. And I was like, if I'm doing this again, it has to be built on a foundation of radical honesty. And yeah, so like that whole process was everything. And then even getting together, there's nothing like, having a business or a child or a relationship to refine your character. So the things come up anytime I felt emotion or anything like that, where I was committed to having clean communication, where if I said something, like I didn't want there to be any spin, I didn't want there to be like anything behind it. And so that was, you can do that on paper and in your journal, but like you don't really get reps until you're in a relationship. And thank God, like she's so understanding and so transparent to where I could say something and she'd be like,
That didn't feel right.
Yeah, it didn't feel right. Felt a little passive aggressive. And I would be like, fuck, you're right.
So how talk about that piece from your side, because obviously reactive, by the way, just kudos as your friend, as your brother. Bro, your energy, the work you two have done, just even since I saw you since February, and the stuff like last fall when you came to the office, like the work you two are doing and what you've gone through in the last couple of years has completely, I'm meeting this new you right now. I fucking love the shit. I already love the shit out of you. This is like deep shit though. This is like, you can't fake yourself to this energy. Talk about this though, because from your side, you're able to receive and give that kind of feedback. Obviously there's going to be collision times, but how have you been able to mentally as a woman with a powerful man who's aggressive and pushes, who's growing and finding himself, what's been kind of your mental model for thinking through or operating like that?
I've never felt so safe and in a relationship to like be myself, to like, I always felt like I was a very shell of myself in any kind of relationship. I always had to hide. I had to be a specific way or say certain, the perfect things. And with him, I was just like, wow, is this easy? This is like, I can say what I'm thinking, and he listens, and he will like look at himself, and I'll look at myself, and yeah, I've never had that kind of open communication, that kind of honesty in any relationship.
Had you been in any like long-term relationships prior to you guys being together?
I had dated a guy in college for 4 years and then broke up after college and kind of just dated, but I was pretty single until I met him.
It's interesting. I feel like the hardest thing in any relationship is just open communication. And anybody who's like gone through divorce, when they're with their next partner, what is like the biggest thing that they work on is their like communication. Yeah. Because if you can address the issue, and you're going to be reactive, you're going to be human, but then almost like taking a pause, like, and like acknowledging that in yourself. And then I thought it was cool how you're just like, whoa, that kind of hurt. Because for me as a woman, I think like he'll say stuff that maybe there's a tone behind it or something, or there's passive aggressiveness. And I'm just like, well, he's the provider. I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm not going to say anything. But then what happens is then it builds up to resentment. And then one day he takes out the garbage the wrong way. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. So it's like, that's even something that I've had to work on, because again, like we've been together forever, but we had a hard time with communication in the beginning. And it wasn't until like the last 5-6 years that we're like, I'm so tired of having these fights. So we need to figure out like, where's the communication lost? Yeah. So like, good job for like actually saying that, hey, that doesn't feel right. And for you being the kind of guy that can receive that and be like, oh, wow, you're right. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times too, there might be things that I could say back to Garrett and then
I'd lose my
he'd
shit.
react again. So then I would be like,
fuck
hey,
you.
Do you want me to communicate, but only if I have a nice tone and maybe my top's off, and then I can.
If your top's off, I'll listen to anything else. I mean, he's just a superpower there.
That might be the strategy, but
I don't think we haven't until the last, I would say 2023, spring of 23, Danielle dropped the gauntlet on me of, she had gotten to a place where she had kept so much inside for so long. She was rising in power in her fitness, her business. She just had our last baby, was feeling herself, growing. And I was kind of in this same pattern, still stuck a bit. Still had a few more things that had to be fucking undone because I was still too reactive. And she was wild.
He's really good at reframing too.
Yeah.
Like, so I wouldn't even, like half the time he'd react, but he'd reframe it. And then I'd be like, you're right. Okay. And then I'd be like confused. I'm like, wait a minute. Why do I feel like I just got
I might be a
manipulated?
narcissist.
You just like, did he gaslight me into believing his reframe?
Literally. But
So
I got to a
a
point where I was like, I can't be in this marriage if you can't work on your activity.
Yeah.
Like I can't. Like I feel like I'm like dying, and you want me to communicate, but you don't like the way I'm communicating.
Yeah.
So if you can't handle how I'm communicating, then you need to look inside, or like let me know how we can figure this out. But I can't be in this space where I can't communicate. You're blocking my communication because of your reactivity.
Yeah.
Do you feel like now you're in a place where the little things you can say it?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you don't
I'm
jump.
quicker to I'm quicker to say something if it bothers me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's still like you think of like women go through years and decades of like, can I share this? Am I safe? And so you kind of put up a wall and a
Yeah.
guard and a box. And so it's like when you're getting into a new relationship and you had a past relationship like that, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to be like, I want open communication and I'm going to receive feedback, and I can't operate the same way I did with my ex-wife because that didn't work, you know?
Yeah.
So it's harder to do that inside of a marriage.
Yeah.
I almost think it would be not easier, but you don't
It'd be
have the
easier.
same scars. You don't have the same
easier.
lens of that person. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
Well, this is why coming in, there's so many couples right now that are, like we have a couple coming next week, just got engaged, like they're a little bit older, they've gone through it. So you're able to give you, but there's so many couples right now, just like you guys. I mean, they're searching, and a ton of single people searching for this. Now, you guys also went through not a necessarily chosen first couple years together, with some things that happened with you. Talk about, because this right here is like, you want to talk about refiner's fire in a relationship and figure out who the fuck somebody really is.
Oh yeah.
Share what went down for you in the last couple of years.
All right. I got diagnosed. Well, first of all, we had like 2 years that were just crazy. Like we were traveling at least 25 trips a year. We were like all over the
You
place.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Having like the best time. And
Yeah.
it just got to a place where I was like, my energy was going, like the amount of things that it took me to be able to like go to dinner were like extraordinary. And we got to the point of, I was working with Anthony DiClemente, you know, if you know him, and he's like, there's something else going on. And I got tested and found out I had Lyme disease and mold toxicity and a bunch of other co-infections that come along with it. And as I started to go through the process of, you know, I was just absolutely devastated. And it's like the hardest thing because you feel, I don't know if you know anything about it, but there's a lot of misinformation about it. But like the way that I describe it is like, have you ever been so hungover, like the worst hangover you've ever had? That fogginess in your brain, like you can't read, can't think, can't do anything. Crushing fatigue, like the first round of COVID. You just can't move for like, you know, it's like combine that with all sorts of pain, like tremendous physical pain. All your joints, muscles, like everything is just hurts.
Wow.
And then all sorts of skin issues, rash issues, gut issues, like just like you can't imagine like the amount of things that it affects, and just going through the process. And there's really not a lot of hope. Like if you read any books, you like anybody that has it, it's not something that people recover from.
Oh, wow.
You have, you know, these dips where you like have a couple years of
Feeling
you know,
better.
feeling better a little bit, and then it comes back. And you know, in terms of the relationship, I was, and I think most men are built on this. My value is what I can provide, how I show up, the energy that I bring, and if I am a complete wreck, and it like the depression and the hopelessness, like I wanted to die every single day.
Wow.
And I knew, I'm like, my life is great. I'm like, but you feel so terrible, but you look fine.
That's
Wow.
People look at you, they're like,
you're not
man, you
sick."
look great.
Yeah.
And you're like, thanks.
I feel like death.
And it doesn't go away like after 6 months. Like it's still there. And so in terms of relationship, my biggest fear is, you know, she's like, I can't perform now, right? Because that's my worth. And, you know, you're going to run away and not be there. And so you kind of have to redefine who you are. And through that, she showed me who she was.
Wow.
Because, I mean, there were many days where I couldn't get out of bed or I couldn't walk and all these different things. And she would come over and she'd put her arms around and lift me up and like, you know, get me out of bed. And like, I mean, there's so many stories like that. And she'd do a lot of fun things just to like mess with me to kind of keep my spirits up. Like every single day. I'd be like making coffee or something and she would like run up and like stick her hand up through my legs and like, you know,
Nut check you.
tickle.
nut check me.
Little nut tickle.
Little tickle. And I just feel like, oh, and I'm like flying
I'm
around.
healed. I feel good. I feel good right now.
And I like, you never expect it. And then like, you know, and then I started to like look around because she'd like jump out from behind something and like, you know, just fun stuff like that to kind of keep it light.
Yeah.
Alyssa, what was it? Elise, what was it like for like as he's being diagnosed with this and you're watching the decline physically? I mean, I'm certain you had all kinds of different feelings and emotions. What was going on for you?
And it was hard. And it was hard to like see him struggle and not I feel like he wasn't able to ask for help. And I have a very like unique lens. My dad was diagnosed with leukemia when I was 3 years old. He's still alive.
Wow.
But just watching him and my mom handle it and go through life with like this incredible positivity. My dad is the biggest goofball, biggest jokester you'll ever meet. Like even when he was his sickest, he was joking with nurses and trying to make everybody laugh. And he'd always be like, you know, like to my mom, whenever he would want to do, this could be my last golf trip ever. This could be my last cookie ever. And so he just liked to like fuck around and like just not take life too seriously. And just, it was like this incredible example of like how to be and how to live in like something could be so devastating, and they never gave up. And like, so I was like, I'm not going to give up on you. Like I didn't sign up for easy. I signed up for a partnership, and I'm going to support you. And if you let me support you, I'm going to do it. So.
Wow.
It's like she was built and grown up with the lens to be the partner that I needed.
Yeah. Well, when did you start? I'm sure there was a feelings of, I mean, I can imagine that. Like even now in my position now, I could see if my cancer had come back or something come back, I could see in my brain where a part of me would want to be, hey, you should get away from me and go be happy. Don't fucking suffer with me to the hole here. Like I can see myself doing that with Danielle right
He
now,
said
even
that
being
to
that
me.
together. Did you say this to you?
All the time.
Multiple times.
And it's like a natural, I don't even know if it's a defense thing so much as at least from me, when I feel into it and then share from your side of it, I want her to be happy. I don't ever want anyone to suffer into the fucking pit I'm in.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. You feel so terrible, and you feel like other people are feeling terrible because they're around you. Like I'm bringing the energy down, the mood down, everything. This is just not funny, but like there is a common treatment with Lyme disease that involves stinging yourself with African killer bees on the spine, like 30 times a day. And people will do that for years in the hopes that they feel better.
Wow.
Like that's how bad you feel.
Holy shit.
How did you overcome
Did you do that?
No.
No.
I went to a clinic in Germany called Clinic St. George, where they do, it's the only place in the world that they do it this way, where they do whole body hyperthermia, where they heat your body up. I think it's like 106.7 or
106.8 degrees.
They just keep you there for 2 hours. So it's an 8-hour procedure, and you do that multiple times. And
They heat you up, bring you down, heat you up. No?
heat you and keep you there for 2 hours.
Wow.
Okay.
And then they bring you down, and then a week later, they do it again.
Yeah.
Got it.
And there's all these other treatments and different things that
They're trying
we
to
had
kill
done.
everything inside of you? Like that, I mean, like kill the Lyme disease?
Yeah, because that's the one Achilles heel. So like people will be on antibiotics, and it can exist in multiple forms. So it'll be like, oh, I see you're trying to kill me, and then it'll like shapeshift.
Go into biofilms.
Or go deeper into joints or,
wow.
neurological stuff. So that's the one way that they can eradicate it, which is this high heat.
Did you go to Germany with them? Mm-hmm. So
And it went away from the one treatment of that?
I did. We stayed in the hospital for a month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
so you
I'd-
do it like once a week for a month?
Their protocol is twice. Marty was like, hit me with it 3 times.
They're like, we've never done that. And I was like,
He's like, if I'm here, like,
Yeah.
Let's try it.
let's do it.
yeah. They were
What
like,
did it feel like when they heat you up that much? Like, what's that feel like?
you're unconscious.
Yeah.
Oh, you're unconscious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, you can-
You're out for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
But-
do they sedate you and then they do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you can't even
That's
have
like a
fever.
surgery.
Yeah.
I don't know how hot. When do you die? I don't know what the
It's
temperature-
brain damage is like,
107.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
gonna
shit,
say,
it's
right-
right
it's
there.
So it's
right
like
on the
right
edge.
there.
Like when our kids get sick, like if they're like 101, 102, you're freaking out.
Yeah, I don't know that math.
Yeah.
Is 107 good? No, you're dead. Oh, okay. Oh, you weren't awake while they were doing this.
Yeah.
Okay, so come back into this. Like, keep talking through this piece. I want to come to this. When did it flip for you where you're like, fuck, she's gonna stay? She's not just staying, she's all the fuck in. When in your mind did it go to, I can trust this woman? Because you go back and like when we first started the show, you're like, you got to test out the relationship and see where it's at. I mean, you guys got the ultimate testing ground. When did it shift for you? Like, she's not only not running, she's even more all in.
And also you have to like surrender to help. You're like, okay.
oh yeah.
Yeah. that was tough for him.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that'd be
Yeah.
tough for any man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like your role is the provider and to be there, and you just feel like weak and worthless and all the things. And at some level, you're like, you could push her away, or you can accept the help.
When did it shift for you? Like when do you remember consciously having the thought, or was it over a period of time?
I think it was over a period of time where she just
Kept showing up.
consistently would show up. And it wasn't like you got home, because this was a year ago. You're even sicker for like 6 weeks. And then you start to see like signs of getting better, but it takes like your whole body, like everything has to rebuild. And then there's stuff after, like now I'm dealing with all these joint issues. Like I'm getting a hip replacement next month.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm still dealing with all this stuff. And she continues to like show up and say, you know, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. And, you know, if we go to a concert and I have to like sit down in the handicap section,
Yeah.
like she's like
Or,
totally fine with it.
you know, when we're at a wedding and he couldn't stand up. His like back had locked up because all of his joints were just insanely inflamed from the bacteria. I kicked off my heels in my dress, put him on my back, and carried him out. So it's like I literally will carry you on my back.
Yeah. And then you started walking across these like big rocks, and my aunt looked at her and goes, "You better marry her fast." Like you gotta lock this one down.
I think that's like the biggest key in marriage is showing up consistently.
Yeah.
Like you can't have like, even Garrett and I, like we'll get in a fight, and prior, like 10 years ago, we'd get in a fight and we're like, fine, screw you, we're getting divorced. And now it's like we get in a fight and we both look at each other and we're like, I'm still here. So it's like being consistent with your partner builds that trust to where if you have a fight or anything goes on, you're like, hey, remember that I keep showing up and I piggybacked your ass out of the, you know? You can kind of look back at those moments and be like, okay, well, these fights are kind of stupid and silly. And it makes you kind of like work through them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Elise? What's like the mindset you have on this to just go deeper, like with him? Because we see so many couples where this not even close to this heavy, not even this kind of shit, and she'll wall up, he walls up, they go into the dysfunction box. Like, if you go and think through, like, what is your thinking that's driving you to, as it got harder, you kept going deeper in?
I mean, like, he's my partner. Like, well, I just want to like show him and support him. And like, if I was that sick, like, wouldn't I want him to show up for me that way? Like, I know he would.
Yeah.
So like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like, I know, like, and I told him, I was like, there's gonna be times where I need the support too. I'm gonna ask for it, but it's not gonna look the same.
Yeah, you never know.
Like, the way you support me is not the same way I support you, vice versa. It's just we show up for each other in different ways. And
Yeah.
What does it feel like as a man, having gone through life, rugged individual style, reactive guy, high energy, and to be in a place with a woman who, I mean, I feel sitting here beside you guys, it's like making me almost cry a little bit. It's like crazy. I think I'm so fucking happy for you, bro.
Thanks, man.
Like, I just am, because I saw how unhappy you were for so long.
How long ago did you guys go to Germany? When was that?
About a year ago.
about a
It was
year.
about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew, actually, now that I think about it, I knew the moment that I knew she was going to be there. In Germany, like, the way that they do things is it's very different than healthcare here, right? And so if at 5 a.m, a nurse would just break into your room and come over, roll you over, and give you an enema. Multiple
Lovely.
times. This happened like, I don't know, probably 7 times we were there. And I just roll over. The nurse flips me over. I don't know what it was. It wasn't like turkey based or whatever. And like Elise is like, we're just like looking there and we're like got our heads together and we're holding It's gonna be okay. And we're holding hands and I'm like, if this isn't love, I don't know what is. It's just a very uncomfortable position.
God. The way you guys just
Very
did the hands
vulnerable.
holding together right there, I literally visually saw it all. I saw a little German woman. I saw it up there.
Not a little German woman.
Big German.
Let's correct that.
Good hands to work with.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like for a woman.
So what has this feels to me like very spiritual, like very God hand on you kind of thing. At least talk about like just the evolution of even your feeling about yourself being in a relationship with Marty, and having gone through the things you guys have gone through, the losing the strength in your legs on the first kiss. I mean, Jesus, you're setting up like the greatest movie of all time. Too. It's like from the kiss on, it's like then you have 2 years of travel and amazing time together,
Engagement,
and the engagement, and then the situation,
yeah.
and Germany, and now we're here. Like, what's opened up for you as a woman going through all these just different varieties of experiences with Marty? How's it changed how you see yourself?
I think that's where I was about to say. I feel strong. I feel confident. I feel confident in us. Feel confident in like being able to express like how I feel. I struggle with a lot of confidence in work, and
Do you guys still work together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and he's helped me with a lot of it, and but I'm still working on it.
Yeah. What have you noticed has shifted in her just in the last year and a half as you've gone through this? Like what have you seen in her that has elevated, shifted, or awakened that maybe wasn't there as potent before?
There's two different Elises. There's one where she's like in front of a room, like teaching group exercise, and it is like this powerful ball of energy and she's
Your
just
stage name.
Yeah,
boom, she's out there.
Right.
it's me.
It's you, like all the way. And there are times where she's full out. Like we're just like, you'll be in a group and be like, we need to meet those people, and be like, Elise, tag you in, let's go, And then there are certain circumstances, where she's more timid and things like that. I think going through this whole process, that confidence is spilling over into other areas. And with us, like the confidence is just so strong, like our relationship with each other. And from a spiritual aspect, it's been, she grew up being an altar server and just like disenchanted with any type of spirituality or church.
Yeah,
Someone
was
says
like-
God, she just gets grossed out.
like
Yeah.
I just like have this visceral reaction to
Get
it, and
it.
I'm like, but over the years, I've like felt like I've been pulled back to praying and pulled back to that, like just feeling God and feeling presence, and not
Being
having
triggered.
to like be like, oh, on this is how it is. It's like, no.
How
like,
were you raised?
Catholic?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Was,
same.
was the God conversation just triggering to you?
Yeah, it was just like the Catholic guilt, and it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, this is how it's supposed to be. You're a sinner, that blah. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
geez, like if that's what God is, I don't want
You don't
it.
want a part of it, yeah.
Lisa, I'm going to throw you under the bus real quick.
Yeah. Throw away.
There was a ClickFunnels event where you came out in all white,
Yeah.
and it was like the whole it
Yeah.
was like a church
It
thing.
was the first time I ever saw you.
The first time, and I hadn't really told her about like our history and
no,
stuff,
you're like,
and
"That's
she's
the
just
way
like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" So this guy's like,
Oh, this is terrible.
"Yeah." She's
what's
she's like, "We have to leave."
Let's get out of this event right
this,
now.
This was like the first year when Garrett was like really like coming back to Christ, and so that was like full force. Like now it's like kind of settled down. But you saw him the first year he rediscovered Christ
You and
for
Jeremy
himself.
singing on
Yeah.
stage.
With
Yeah.
the white flowing
Yeah.
suit.
I was a backup
smoke.
dancer. I didn't know how to be a backup worship dancer. I was like, I'd only been to a few churches, but it had the dancers. So I was like, I think I should be doing something right now. So I was like trying it all on. Thing is, I'll go fucking full send whatever it is.
Whatever
I'm
it is,
trying,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If we're going, okay, let's try non-denominational Christian.
But I
Let's
just
do
know that about
Hey.
Garrett. I'm like, oh, you saw him during that time. Okay. With Garrett, I'm always like, which personality's going to come out this year?
But it was just going through the whole process. You're beat into surrender,
Yeah.
because there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
I was taking probably 200 pills a day. I was doing all these injections. I'm doing literally it could take me 2 hours just to do all the supplements in different forms, like in a day. You're like trying everything, and then you get to the end of the day and you realize like I can't do it. You
Yeah.
know, like I have to trust that this is God's bringing me through this for a reason,
Right.
So that I can bring hope, because there's not hope in this space at all.
Yeah.
I've only known one other person with it, and he came to Warrior Week. He'd actually gotten to a point. He had a what's it called, the bag, the colostrum bag is what it's called. because his internal gut system was shutting down on him, and he would get real fatigued. So he actually went through Warrior Week, but we were really cautious with him. So when he was getting pushed too much, and I'd take a walk with him or sit with him, and that was the only thing I knew. But I didn't get deep into it with him about what he was actually going through, so I had no idea. You had I'm gonna jump over to something different.
Sure.
Your son is how old now?
13.
13.
Yeah.
And I talk about this to everyone that I know about what you figured out, because it's interesting to watch what your path has been in your commitment to solve problems that seemingly are impossible to solve.
Yep.
You were in real estate, heavy marketer, great direct response marketer, great speaker, great closer, but then you took on a project with your son.
Yeah.
Talk about that project, because this is what you're figuring out right now is incredible too, but you've been kind of on a mission to do things like this. Share what you're open to about what you figured out with your son.
Yeah. So he got diagnosed with autism, like right before his 3rd birthday. And I don't know, I was just like, I shifted my entire life around figuring out, how do I help him? And I didn't know if he could recover. I didn't know what the future held. I was just like, I want to do everything I possibly can to put him in the best position where his body can have what it needs. And so that's what I did. And I just I jumped in, and I was.
Well, and he went to a doctor.
Yeah. And the guy's like, there's nothing you can do. It's therapy. It's this and that.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck you. I'm taking this on. And I never took him back to other doctors for it at all. And I just dug into research and found out, there's these biomedical differences with kids with autism. And there's certain things that you can do. It's kind of like the biohacking, change diet, you give the right supplements. And, not every kid's going to be the same. Every kid has a different level of potential. But it just so happened that when I started changing his diet, giving him these different supplements, I just noticed this jump in him. And it started to improve. And it wasn't overnight, but things just started to get better. And I don't know, it's, you fast forward to now, and he's like fully recovered. He's most emotionally intelligent, witty, ball busting, like fun, athletic, social, like kid you've ever met.
You'd never know, essentially?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, I mean, just the opposite.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy that you could have people are so quick to accept something, and imagine if he had gone down a different path, what a different life he would have, So
Yeah.
I think it's cool that you were like, I don't accept that. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You created your own supplement line for that too, right?
Yeah. And it was because of you, and there's a lot of things that I'm here, who I am, because of you, and you just saying, yes, I'm going to go. And no matter what stage you're in, just going all in. So I just love and appreciate you more than you will ever know. But I was sitting at one of the events, and you were just talking about, you've got something on your heart. You've just got to go. And I had this great real estate business. And I was like, but I had this idea that if I could take the knowledge that I had that helped him and share it with others, and that it could be something really special. And for 2.5 years, I did absolutely nothing until that day. And I turned the guy next to me, and I was like, I'm going to do this. He's like, hell yeah, man. And then he introduced me to Travis. That was Luca. And then everything felt like we were just flowing.
Ooh, yeah.
And it was unbelievable. I'd always felt like I would hit my head into a wall, and I would always do that. Like, my favorite animal is the rhino. I'm like, I will break through.
Yeah,
Yes.
And then this was the first time in my life where I felt like I was just getting carried.
Yeah. It's because you accepted the calling.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you do that, it's like,
Look at the impact.
Yeah.
I mean, just think, your son's future forever. You did the greatest act of work a father could ever do. You literally altered a trajectory that society said was impossible,
Right.
and guided him to a place where now I'm gonna love to see him. I haven't seen him for so long. I didn't even get to experience that version of him.
Yeah.
And what you've been able to create. And I've told the story about what you chose to do on this path so many times, just closed door events with guys. Because there's so many times where everybody's stuck. They're stuck in their marriage and I can't do it. And I'm like, you can do it. Or I'm stuck with my kids. You can do it. Because there's just too much evidence of people like you two, Danielle and I, who are saying, bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't fucking buy your story. I'm going to do this. I know this can be done. I don't know how it's going to be done.
Yeah.
But what
that's
I
the
do
thing.
know is it's going to be done.
Yeah.
The first step is accepting that calling. And then
Yeah.
it's like you just start putting feelers out and you're like, wow, like you said, it was just like felt smooth, like you're being like carried. And it's like that's when it's cool, and you know, even if you don't know the answer, you'll figure out the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's this place where you have, it's like Tarzan swinging through. You're holding on to one vine, and in order to grab the other one, you have to let go.
Yeah.
And for a brief
Yeah.
moment,
You're
you
floating.
are, you look down, you're not holding on to anything.
Yeah.
100 feet off the ground, and it's terrifying.
Right.
But it's like, that's the key.
Well, look at how many times you've had to do that. Like to end up here with you two together, how many times both of you had to let go
Yeah, let
and
go.
free fall
That's a good
for a
analogy.
second and reach for the next vine.
Yeah.
Like how many in business, past relationships, situations over and over again, it builds a fortitude for you. What's it been like being a mom, being a stepmom?
Yeah, it's just so interesting. It's been a journey I never like thought I would like be on.
Because how old was his son when you guys met?
8.
Okay.
And I think COVID was like the perfect thing. It just like the world stopped for us to like come together. It slowed down like everything so that I could be like open to even dating a man with a child. I was like, I didn't even think that I would be open to it. And then it was so special, and I just like couldn't say no. So he's an incredible kid. It was hard because even when he was 8, he was still having symptoms. But you could see like when he like was eating right and taking like the supplements and getting good, like his body getting what he needed. I was like, oh wow, like
You could see him like progressively getting better.
yeah. And I don't know, it's challenging, but it's really rewarding.
You guys are buddies. He loves you.
Yeah.
Like he'll be like, let's go out on a date. And he lights up.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
So,
Like go do his hair and like run downstairs. And
Yeah.
so no, it's been a blessing, but it does have its challenges. Like I feel like when I graduated college and I was still with my ex, and I was like, oh yeah, like you're going to get married, like in your 20s, you're like, get married, have kids. That's like what you're going to do. And then we started talking about having kids. It's like, I don't want to have kids with this man. I was like, ooh. And that was like kind of the last time I even thought about having kids. And the older I got, I was like, you know, if I like find somebody and get married, I was like, the older I got, I was like, maybe kids aren't in my like, they're not going to be for me. And I was like, kind of like had that identity and was like, yeah, I'm just not going to have kids.
Oh, you didn't think you'd be a mom? Do you guys want kids together?
We're like trying to figure that out still.
Yeah.
So, haven't decided either way.
I'm sure with all the like the stuff you've gone through in the last year, it's like that's not a conversation you're gonna have, you know?
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
still struggling with energy and different things.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I don't know if I could be up all night
With a toddler.
Right.
with a toddler
Yeah.
and that. Things would have to look a lot different.
Yeah.
And she's not 100% convinced, but it's fun to like think about and talk about and like, oh, what would they'd be like some sort of super athlete. Like I'm just trying to like think about it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, he's gone through phases where like when our third date, he was like, I'm never going to get married again. Like,
And I'm not having any kids.
and no more kids.
Oh, well.
And we've gotten to this place where like, obviously we're engaged, we're getting married, and we've started talking about like, what if we want like kids? Like we'd be open to
Yeah,
it.
you're open to the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because I'm finding out over time it evolves. It just like all evolves.
Because it's like you see where your relationship is, and you're kind of like, I kind of like you. I want a little
Yeah.
person, you know, like.
Well, if I hadn't gotten snipped, she'd probably gotten pregnant 2 or 3 more times.
You know what's so funny?
She gets the craving. She holds on to
No,
somebody's
what's
baby.
funny,
And she's
I was
like,
never a baby
"Oh."
person until I had my own babies, and I'm like, oh dang, like I really like babies, but mostly just mine.
We had to replace it with a little Yorkie dog because
You
like
guys saw my dog.
she was like
Yeah.
she was not even kidding. Like she went through 2 really rough pregnancies. The last 2 kids, like very rough with like injections and blood thinners and all kinds of crazy shit that she was going through. Oh, geez, there's one of the dogs over there. Yep. So, like, to choose it again was like
like I've had really bad pregnancies, but it's the mom fog they talk about. It's real, but it's because like once you have that kid, you're like, it doesn't matter. You're like, I'd do it again. Like it's like you don't even like think about the pain.
How was that like experience for you when you guys got together?
With Parker?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, tell them the story.
This is kind of funny. I was 18, just moved to college, and he was 25. And I had gone on a few dates with him and thought he was really cute. I thought he was a little bit older, but I was like, whatever. And I'm getting ready to go to his apartment. We lived in the same apartment complex. And this girl shows up to hang out with one of my friends, and she's like, oh, you're dating Garrett White? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, oh, ask him about Garrett White who has a son. I go, oh, no, different Garrett White. She's like, no, on the third floor, like that Garrett? Yeah, he has a son. And I was like, what? What? So,
Different.
Just conveniently left that out.
Yeah, no, he did. We would go on like 3 or 4 dates. I was like, oh, so
She wasn't ready to hear that information.
So we go up. I go up to his apartment. He's like making food, and I'm like, I'm like boiling inside. I was like, oh my gosh, because first off, I'm like, I already was getting shit from my family that he was like older. He had like a tattoo. He's kind of the wild guy. And then I'm like, does he really have a kid? So then I just don't know how to ask him. And I'm like, so I ran into Sarah downstairs and she said Garrett with the kid. Isn't that funny? And he goes, yeah, I have a son. And he goes, go look at his picture. It's him in my room. I thought it was like his nephew. I had this like cute picture of like a boy in a baseball cap. I was like, that's your son. That's your son. And then later,
I just played it. I just
but no, later,
slow played.
Later he told me
give me
he's like,
reaction.
Nice save, buddy.
Later he told me, he's like, after my divorce and my son, he's like, I would go out with these cute girls on the first date. I'd be like, I've been married and I have a kid. And they'd be like, whoa, see you later. And I'm like, I probably would have done the same thing. Like having just moved down there, like we're on our first date.
Right out of high school.
Yeah, like I would have been like, see you later. So when he told me that, the second thing that he told me is like, oh, but he lives in Canada. And I was like, that's weird. Why does he live in Canada? Because his ex-wife was from there, and his son was born in the States, but then they moved to Canada, and his son stayed with the mom. And so in my mind, this sounds really bad, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, cool, he's in Canada. We'll never see him. I don't have to be a mom. But
she was a teenager. I mean,
I was just like,
young.
I was so young. I was like, I'm not ready to be a mom, And then as we started to get more serious, I was like, okay, shit, I should probably like meet his son.
Yeah.
And we went down to Canada and we met his son. I was like, oh my God, he's the cutest freaking thing ever. Like he was like 2 years old at the time, this little blondie, and he was just like really cute. And I was like, okay, I could do this. And even then I was very nervous because I was so young, because I was like, well, how often do you see him? He's like, oh, we see him like every, like once, like what, probably like twice a year. And I was like, oh, I could do that, But what was interesting for me is when we first got married, I started to fight for him more because I didn't want his son to grow up thinking like, why doesn't my dad want to be with me more? So I turned into being like the advocate for him. I'm like, you need to get him down here more. You need to get him down here more. And it was crazy because it wasn't until Parker was 18 and he moved away to college, and we brought him in to move with us conveniently during COVID as well, that him and I like really connected. And so now like we're like good buds in a lot of ways. Like he's had really like deep conversations with me that maybe he wouldn't even tell his other mom, So I like love that. And when people like ask like, how many kids do you have? But prior to Parker moving down here, it was like, oh, we have 3 girls. And then when he moved down here, I always tell people, I'm like, I have 5 kids. Like, I'm not like, I have 4 and a stepson. I'm like, I have 5 children. Yeah. Because he's part of the family. So
it actually shifted a lot in the last couple of years to where there was points, because like, I mean, the truth is I abandoned my son for 10 years. Like, there's no taking that back. Like, I fucking did that. Yeah. She would push hard, and I was so focused on work. And then our daughters, I was like, and then I'd gone through so much fighting with my ex over custody, and they wanted to adopt him, and they wanted to let go. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking give him up for adoption. And then she ended up divorcing the second guy she was married to, and they had a kid. And then she got married to another guy, which I really like. He's a great guy, and they're happy, and they're doing their thing now. But at the time, like, I kind of unplugged. I kind of unplugged from her. I unplugged from him. I unplugged from everybody. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was young, mortgage broker, running my team, just trying to, interestingly enough, trying to prove myself worthy to be with her. So, of course, I did the thing I thought would get me there, which is
work all the
get
time.
Rich.
Yeah.
Well, because I came
and ignore
from...
her for 10 years, and ignore my son for 10 years. So when we came back in, she played a mission critical role in my relationship. You've been like pouring into your son. That's been me for the past 7-8 years. Prior to that, like it was fucking nothing. I quit. I just quit. I
But
quit trying.
I told Garrett, I said, because I think he felt bad for not like being with him. And I said, I don't need you to feel bad. I need you to understand you got to raise him in the most important part of his life. He's now becoming a man. You got to coach him on how to be a man. I'm like, that is your role. And life works in mysterious ways. And I'm like, she raised him to that point. Now you're raising him to be the man he should be, you know?
Was that hard for you to release that?
Like to let go of the past?
Yeah, that guilt.
It was. I went through a lot. Like I went through a lot of guilt. I mean, so much fucking guilt, dude.
Yeah.
And when he came back into our world, I wanted to just throw frisbees on the beach and play football. And
I said,
"Son,
how about you
let's
try?
go."
I said, how about you try being friends first?
No, she didn't say it that way. We were sitting at the Surf and Sand
I
Hotel.
did. Come
No,
on.
no, she did not. We were sitting at the Surf and Sand Hotel, and I was bitching about Parker not want to hang out. He was at the house, and he would just hide in his room, and like we were spending time. And I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of being a dick about it. I'm like, what the fuck? No, 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 no. And then she's sitting across me, and she just goes, "Stop. What makes you fucking think he should care about you at all? You didn't show up. I was fighting for him. You didn't show up. How about you see if you can be his fucking friend?" I was like,
Do you mind if I just give a... That's like,
Well,
wow, I
otherwise,
love that.
You know, we got
bro,
our.
she black.
gotta
I'm
call him out.
weeping sitting at Surf and Sand Hotel at
Just
the restaurant. Just
truth.
she is fucking just blasting me, and I can't hide from any of it.
Yeah.
So then that started the next like 4 or 5 years. We had Coach Sam and all the trainers at Warrior. I said, okay, if I got to figure out how to be his friend, then I'm going to put him in a world with men that he can look to that's not me. Mm-hmm. And so we surrounded him with just really powerful men, and he was part of all our Warrior Week events. So he got to see all this pain. And then it was in the last like 2 years where he got engaged, and they went and moved to Houston. They went some really hard times together as a couple, and then came back to California to work with us again. And that was when Parker and Danielle merged. That's when it was really the last 2 years it became.
He came to me and he said, he's like, I want to engage or propose to my girl. And I was like, he shows me the ring. I go, she's going to say no with that. You can't give her that. It's like, what is that? Is that a diamond? I don't know what I'm looking at. So I said to him, I'm like, okay, you got to have a bigger budget. Because I'm like, I know you're broke, but you're not that broke. So I had my original band. Are you wearing your ring today or you're not?
Oh, no, it's upstairs.
I had my original wedding ring he proposed to me with. And I wasn't wearing it anymore because I got an upgrade. And I said, I have an idea. I'm going to take the original band. I'm going to take the main diamond out. I remade him a really cool wedding ring with my original stone in it. Oh. And I gave Parker the band. And I said, you just have to purchase the diamond that goes in it. So he got her the diamond and the band. So it was like our little connection, like our little bond.
That's
That's
so
about
cool.
that's about the
Yeah.
time that
That
she
means a
started.
lot.
Well, because I don't
Going
have a son.
5
We don't
kids.
have a son together,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So
But it's like legit. Like I'll get caught up times saying Danielle. He never calls her Danielle.
that was hard for me,
Just
though.
calls her mom.
He, like, as soon as he moved down here, he'd go out of his way, be like, Mom. And I was like, that feels so weird. And I was like, you know what? If he's trying, why am I not trying? You know what I mean? Like, go ask your dad. Because I'd always say, go ask Garrett. And then I'd be like, he's one of my kids. So now if he's making an effort, then I was like, then I need to make the effort.
Yeah.
And you had to go through that identity shift,
Right. Yeah.
and to now where it feels
Normal.
I have 5
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, exactly.
I think she loves it too, because when we'll go out to like dinner with all the kids, and they'll come to the table and like, who's the mom? Because
all my daughters are tall, and I'm like this little tiny thing, and I'm like,
so my son's like 6'2", my daughters are all like 5'8", 5'9", and they got the 2 toddlers, and they'll go. She likes it though, because like she has 5 children, and everybody, as if 4 is already, then everyone just goes. Particularly when we're in the
and
Caribbean.
Parker
you
looks
can't
like
believe it.
all my kids. He's the blonde hair,
Yeah.
the blue eyes, like so it's fun.
So you guys have been building a business together too.
Yeah.
Talk about how you guys have been able to play. This Danielle and I flat out had to stop doing business together. It was going to cause.
But
our
we're trying to
divorce.
do business. I'm
We're
trying to bring him back in.
We're trying to do it again
I mean,
right
like,
now.
look at you now. Right?
Yeah, we're doing podcasts
Yeah.
together. We're very good at podcasts together. Business together, we're not quite there. We're improving. We're progressing. But you guys have been from like day one,
Yeah.
dating life and business life together. Share with me what that's been like from you guys, like, because it's a pressure cooker when you're creating, particularly with what you went through physically.
Yeah. I'll just say that we didn't have to do it the past few years because I really wasn't working.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but in the beginning and recently, what do you think?
I don't. It's fun, like creating and building stuff together. Like when we get to sit down and like work on something together, it's just like it feels magical. It feels like we're
creative.
It's just. I mean, we'll like have our differences, but
It does feel a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then like if we go to a conference or something and we like are set up, it's like I feel like we're a really good team with it because she has very unique skill set that I don't have, and so we just kind of work back and forth.
What's the role that you play? Like if you guys are sitting and creating together, what is like the role that Marty counts on you for? Like what are the skills in that area? Because this is something that's come up with a bunch of different couples in the last couple of months that do hard business together. Like they build a lot of stuff together. And that's been kind of the common theme, at least we've been seeing in the interviews, like that people are very clear about this is what I'm great at, this is what I'm not great at, this is what I suck at, this is what I am dominating at, and they're able to play off each other's strengths.
Do you feel like it's your business together?
I do now.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like for me, for a lot of times I'm like, if it's your business together, you're like great, but if you just feel like it's Marty's business, then you feel like you can only say so much, you know?
No, I feel like it's ours. Like, and
I think everybody involved feels like it's theirs.
it's because it's just like a small family, like his mom, his sister, me, some like friends from growing up. So
There's people that aren't, but it's like the core.
the core, yeah. So yeah, like it feels like we're doing it together. It doesn't feel like I'm just like following him.
along, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you separate business and personal? Like, because when you go to dinner, you're like, do you put a pin in like certain conversations?
I've had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like when we're brushing our teeth before bed, I guess
Yeah.
that's not a
Like,
good time
Marty,
to bring up
not
some
right
like
now.
complex issues.
Right? Because then next thing you know, his hand's on your ass and you're like, we were just talking about this and now you're trying to make a move.
Yeah. I was just like, it's bedtime. We're in our bedroom, like in our bathroom. Like I was like, let's shut it off.
Yeah.
So
That's a problem when you're an entrepreneur. You have, it's like, it's
He
always.
doesn't. You don't get to shut it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are dinner, like we went out to dinner and we just play it by ear because there'll be something if it's energy bringing and we're excited about it and we're talking and it's something that we don't have a lot of time. Because even during the day, like our offices are backed up to each other, but like she's doing her thing, I'm doing my thing. So we might not actually get together and talk about it. So if it's life bringing, like we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Like we went on a date night the other night and like for probably a half hour we started talking about business stuff and it's fun. But if it's like heavier problem solving, it's like, okay, like let's
Put a pin in it.
Let's wait.
Yeah.
Let's wait. So I think we do a really good balance of that. And when I tell him like, no, like this isn't the time, he's like, okay.
We found the perfect time to discuss complicated problems.
You're so
If you
bad
want
at
to
this.
guarantee a war, let me help you.
And then
if you wanted to know
and then
how
if
to
you
do
mix
this.
a cocktail with it, you're like, wait, I've
It's
had to
always
do
when the
like,
cocktail's involved.
Yeah.
So you're about 4 shots of Clase Azul down, and then you decide to solve real deep personal issue things with each other and business at the same time.
Let's get out the whiteboard.
Mix
Yeah,
it.
Let's roll
get
it out.
Let me draw out where you're fucking up right now. I'm now 5 shots in. I have no filter. Here is what I'm seeing. Fuck you. We've figured out how to not do that.
I think our biggest problem is like we with the kids and work and everything. By the time we go to dinner, we're like, oh, we want to relax. But then there's always issues that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we're like, how do we choose? Like now we're going to talk about this, or do we put a pin in it? But then I'm like, if we put a pin in it, we have to like carve time out in like the middle of the day. I'll be like, hey,
Yeah.
because otherwise at nighttime we both kind of want to like relax and not talk about it, or we
Yeah.
want to talk about it, but then we want to have a cocktail and then it turns into a fight. And we wonder why.
Tequila is just, tits.
It's great.
It's
just
delicious.
don't have any
It's
important
delicious.
We're
conversations.
just not trying to do anything serious. We're like, let's just talk tits and tequila and be done there. No more conversation about anything else. So you went through all the physical side of things.
Yeah.
And you had the 2 years of passionate travel with each other. Talk about where sex has played into all of this. I can imagine that it was not, or it was, were you still able to like have it drive at all? Did it take the drive away when you were like feeling as sick as you were?
Absolutely not. Like it was like zero drive.
0.
Yeah, like nothing. And I think it was just you go in seasons, right? But
Okay.
the first few years before I got sick, it was just really insane. Like where we had to have interventions with each other and sit down and be like,
this isn't sustainable. We
Yeah.
can't stay up all night.
Yeah.
this is like, you're like 6 hours a day. Like we have to figure out a system. So like,
You don't have 6 hours a day.
6 hours of sex a day is not sustainable.
it was, and I'm not like exaggerating.
No.
It was just very
We're like,
aggressive
okay.
in the beginning, and it was, and so we had to pull it back and just be like, all right, how do we do this? You know, and we did. We came up with different strategies on how to take less time, and then, you know, and then getting.
This is such a good problem. It's such a good problem to be solving.
Yeah.
It's such a good problem. What was your problem? Well, we had to figure out how to stop having sex 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
This is good. And what did the strategy become?
Well, one is we had to learn how to have a quickie.
Okay.
Because that was like step one. Because it was like okay, if we're gonna,
And not go for round 2.
yeah. So it's like if we start and we know a minimum, it's gonna be an hour, and then like if we delay it, so it was
We had
like
to set a bedtime.
yeah.
You have
Man.
alarms going off. You have 5 minutes. You better hurry.
I'm usually like, the kids are in the bathroom. We have 5 minutes.
Yeah, we actually do have the alarm set and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's like time to go. And then, so that was like, you know, pretty wild. But then as you go in and you get sick and you like don't have that drive, it becomes, you know, when we can,
Yeah.
which was like significantly less. And even now it's like difficult just because physically, like the amount of pain that I'm in,
Yeah.
it's much more difficult.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's like coming back to a place where it's like much more healthy.
Yeah.
For you guys, how much has sex played part of the connection piece for you? Because you had such a connection before it.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had like better sex, so it's just like been the best.
Do you think do you think that for you guys, is it more than a physical connection
Yeah.
that's happening? I mean, maybe not every time, but it seems like with the energy, because me and Danielle noticed the same thing. There was like this drive I had forever, just penis and vagina, need to have sex. And then we opened up into a different level that was wild and fun, but there was also this other feeling that opened up for us, which we had never had. I think we had it when we were first together, but then it went away for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And then it started coming back. Like that, almost some people
You
describe
have
it
to
like
keep that.
soul
So you
sex.
have to keep that like spark, or it can shut off.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we had shut off years for he was just working and providing, and then we lost everything, and those were like shut off years. And you have to keep that like spark going. It's not natural. People don't understand. Like when you're married or engaged or whatever it is, if you don't keep that going, you literally like you're naturally. I believe your body just shuts it down. It's like we're not having sex. It's like a protective mechanism. It's like
So what do you feel like after 15 years, like you were able to rekindle that?
I had to really let go. I think I had a lot of resentment from when we like lost everything financially.
Yep.
And I just was like, okay, I could go marry another man, but I have 2 kids at that point. I owe it to my family to try to figure out why am I so guarded, or maybe it's just a series of like I need to open up. So for me, it was like being the instigator and being more open, and it was hard for me because I was like, we were raised Mormon, right? So it was very like awkward anyways. So I was like, I had to like discover myself, and I had to be literally like a little bit more of like the aggressor, and
Stripper.
well, that too. But as I started to do it, I really liked. Sounds crazy, but for a woman, I was like, wow, this is actually very powerful.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I don't know why I was like kind of pushing him away for so many years, but I think what women don't understand is it doesn't happen overnight. It's just constant changing your patterns and behaviors and engaging or whatever it is, instead of saying, well, I'm just not a sexual person. Well, it's because you're choosing not to be that way. And in doing so, he had like come to me where he's like, I'm dying. He's like, I'm a man, but I need sex. And I was like, oh, like we had so many years, we call like mercy sex or whatever, you know what I mean?
Vaginal masturbation.
And but the thing is, I realized in myself, I was like, I don't really want that either. There's a
good way
lot
to
of
describe
names.
it.
Duty booty.
Duty booty, vaginal masturbation, pincushion sex,
there's
mercy
lots-
sex,
But that's
chore
the thing
sex.
is, like, I shut it down so much in myself, and I was like, I don't really want this in myself either. So I'm not just going to go marry another man and it's going to turn back on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I've got to make a decision. Do I want to rekindle this spark with my husband? And so I did. I would say for the first couple years, it was kind of awkward, and then it got better and better and better. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm a fucking stripper. This is great.
That's awesome. Well, it took years to like beat that repressed Mormon
Yes,
ideology
literally,
out of you.
yes.
You know?
And then what's crazy is I always say, like, I feel more like myself and I feel free. Like I literally am like, oh, there's like a weight lifted in me.
Yeah.
So
It's completely, and the last 3 or 4 years have been, 5 years have been like beyond what I mean, it's got to one is beyond anything I imagined could be possible for us.
Well,
But
it
it took so much work from both sides.
But it also went to this place where it was just like really good sex all the time. But then I was like, I want it to go back to like being intimate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that's kind of like where we're at now. It was
We
like
had our fuck a
we had
lot
like crazy,
sessions.
crazy stripper mode for like 4 or 5 years. That's how I ended up with 2 more kids.
You gotta remember, she's the one who was asking for a stripper pole in our bedroom.
Oh, wow.
That's how good
It
her
didn't
dancing skills were
happen,
getting.
but
We didn't put it in
dancing
there.
skills got pretty good.
Dancing skills got good.
That's impressive.
Which is like interesting
That's
because
hard.
I think the realization that we got into as a couple too was like you're going to face shit no matter who you're with.
Yeah.
And everything you think is magical. I heard a pastor say this one time where people are like leaving each other over and marriages have to end. Like I got divorced. There's no way Christine and I could have been like, we just couldn't have been like, even now, like I'm around her. I like her. I think she's great. I'm grateful to her for who she was and what she's not. I'm happy she found a guy that she's in love with and they have a great life together with several other kids. And there's no fucking way I could be married to her. Like I couldn't be who I am now.
Yep.
Had I been with her, and she couldn't be who she was, has become had I been with her too, because I'm the complete opposite from the dude that she married. He's very calm, and he's 25 years older. So he's got like a whole bunch of game figured out in his life, and he's just stable in a different way. Mm-hmm. So as you two are creating into the future, now we're getting better on the physical side. Mm-hmm. What's the thing that you're most excited about that you're creating now?
Well, next up on the list is the wedding.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Yes.
Getting our families we're going to Italy and have them experience something that we love to do, which is travel and experience different cultures. And a lot of our family would never do that. Mm-hmm. So we're like looking at this as an opportunity to celebrate and actually show,
Share,
people
like-
that we love and share like what we like.
Yeah, share that experience with them, and everyone's like excited and like, so.
And we were just talking about this in the car on the way down, but that next chapter, that dreaming and like figuring out like what is that next thing that's driving us is something that, because I talked about it a lot, like Elise has been like the way that she grew up, she never allowed herself to dream. Like never even allowed herself to, okay, this is possible. So I think, and for me, just being in this black hole, like it's coming out of it now and just going, okay, well, like what is the next? And I feel like one of the things is completing this karmic loop of like, we've gone through so many different things, whether it's like going through the divorce and then with Marcus and helping him and then sickness in our relationship and everything else. It's like, we have a lot to share and that can help people and give people hope.
Yeah.
Where, I didn't have it a lot of times.
Yeah.
So it's like completing that loop. So.
Yeah, it's just how can we he's done it with the business up to this point. It's like how can we, give that hope to other people? Like what can we bring to others that will help them?
That's cool. Tell us more about your supplement company.
It's called Aspire Nutrition, and we focus primarily on helping kids with autism, but they're just really excellent supplements. But they're in forms that most kids with autism have really strong taste and texture sensitivities. And so they might only eat 3 or 4 foods. So
Wow.
we have these unflavored powders that they can mix into, like, if they only eat chicken nuggets and ketchup, we can mix it in the ketchup and they won't know. And we've been doing it now for probably 8 years. And it's really incredible. Like, we cry every single week because we get these videos and things every single week where we're just like, lives are just radically transformed.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so to be a part of that, and then for me, getting back involved again and stepping into a role of being able to get out there and share, I haven't done that.
You should speak on it.
Yeah, like this week, I've shot more video than I did cumulatively the entire time I've had the company.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like he's finally feeling better to like what
Yeah,
he
to do the
can.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it that autistics, they only want to eat 3 or 4 food groups? Is that just super common?
Yeah, it's super common. There's a lot of gut issues.
Oh, okay.
So it can be
So-
that. There can be like, if you're zinc deficient, which a lot of, the majority are, that affects taste buds and you need to have a certain like higher fat, higher sugar type things.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's
There's a lot of factors,
Yeah.
but
Can they be for any kids though? Could any kids take the supplements?
We
yeah.
take them every day.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
we
guys
do.
take them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because it's just, we have stuff for detox and gut health. And,
Yeah, that's a big theme. Both of my daughters and my older teenagers will like go to dinner, and almost every time, what do they say after they eat?
stomach
My
hurts."
stomach hurts, and I'm like, maybe you have a gluten intolerance. I don't know.
yeah,
I just think our food's shitty now.
It is.
it is. It's incredibly shitty.
Yeah.
So
And the dino nuggets aren't helping.
Oh man,
I doubt there's any nugget in that dino.
No, not
I
much.
threw some broccoli. I threw
Shit.
some broccoli and some carrots on there with the dino nuggets, so
Yeah.
balance.
And I think that's the hard part, because we live in this society where our food is poisoned. We're surrounded by toxins, chemicals everywhere, and like everybody's busy, everybody's
Yeah.
exhausted. There's time, energy crisis, and so it's like, how do we give our kids the best
Right.
without spending 20,000 hours diving into research and trying to figure out different ways? And so we just try to keep it really simple. We have a very simple system, and then Garrett said this the best when he first started Warrior. He said, I am going to sell them what they want and give them what they need. And so I look at what we're doing, which is like, we have this magic powder, quote unquote, that you can notice a difference. Like, they're very powerful formulas where they notice a difference. And once they get a win, then I can provide them what they really need, which is education around living better and lifestyle
Yeah, then you're like,
and
okay,
things like that.
This is working, so here's stuff you can implement into your diet and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
it's like,
Dude,
And
you-
they trust you more once they see results. They're like, oh, okay.
I might listen to this guy. He might know what he's
yeah.
talking
Bro,
about.
might
I've
know
thought this
something.
for like years, dude. I'm like, you just being a voice for it. Like I'm not saying this from a place because we got to spend a lot of time together. But what you fucking did, every time I talk about it with anyone who has children with autism, and I even start speaking about it, you just being a voice for it, just a public face of saying, here's what I did.
You're fighting for it.
Here's what we've created.
Yeah.
And you spoke on this from your own podcast. You spoke about this on YouTube. You just spoke about, dude, the suffering that just in the families that I know, and the number of divorces and the heaviness on the parents and the frustration. We have a couple kids in the neighborhood that are autistic, and I talk with their parents, and just the weight that these parents are carrying.
Yeah.
There's more than just that. You're going to be able to help the fathers. Like this is like a empire of like solving problems that actually like matter.
I've never heard of a company that said like you could essentially like cure autism.
We don't say that.
We don't say it.
that's,
You can't say we cure it.
Here,
can't say-
but I mean,
it's just you're giving your body what it needs to do its job better.
when
like,
when
help
your
you
body
reach-
doesn't have the raw materials and it's
Yeah, that
fighting
makes sense.
toxins, it's gonna not operate the way it
Yeah.
should. So if you can just give like the right raw materials and like the support, then you can see like just health.
We don't make any structure function claims.
Got it.
Yeah.
We do not on this podcast either. Remember, I am the highest paid PE teacher in the world. We are not marriage therapists. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. Not a doctor.
Keep it rolling.
Although I do play one at times with her.
Oh.
that's how we're ending the show.
That's what we're doing.
So listen, you two have been absolutely amazing, and just from a happy factor, like I'm so happy for both of you. Like, and Marty, brother, I'm so happy for you.
Thanks, man.
Like genuinely, just there's a man that I knew that you didn't know, and he was one of the first 5 men to step into Wake Up Warrior in 2012, at a time where I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and he was guiding me as much as I was guiding him. And James P. Friel, his wingman of choice for life, and Michael Isom, Kerry Robarge, Greg Anderson, like
Yep.
our original 5 guys that came in 2012. It's 2025.
Why don't you tell the people how you position Warrior?
Yeah, well, we'll give them the quick story. Here we go. So Marty and I get on a call. I'm feeling very confident. We'd been a Soul Purpose Intensive. I knew him. I was like, all right, I think Marty's going to be down for this. My plan at the time when I launched Wake Up Warrior was body being business, because
There was no balance in our life.
there was no balance, and I was pretty sure she was going to leave me. So I was like, all right, we're going to launch this thing. But I had gotten into network marketing, and Visalis shakes were a fitness thing. And I was like, I don't
even
really want to be a
remember this.
fitness guy, but I'll do the shakes. And then I was like learning direct response marketing. I thought, well, if I build this thing called Wake Up Warrior Challenge and then I just have them buy the shakes, then I'll build a network marketing business while I get to talk about this other thing I really want to do. And Visal's is kind of cool. And I drink the shakes. So I get on my first sales call for Warrior with Marty. And I'm sitting in this car. And Marty's smarter than me at that time for sure. But I'm committed to go. So I'm like, okay, this is a safe place. He'll tell me the truth. So I make the pitch. And then Marty at the end's like, okay, so let me get this straight. You're going to coach me for 90 days.
Oh, I think I did.
And all I have to do is buy some shakes every month.
$99 worth of shakes.
Well, that was it. In my mind, I'm thinking Marty's going to go big. He's going to go the $4.97 a month. And Marty goes, he asked me a hard question. He goes, well, there's 3 packages here. One's like $4.97, one's like $1.97, and one's like $97. So I could buy any of the 3, and he caught me. I hadn't thought about that. I was like, fuck. Yeah, any of them. And they go, so I could buy the $97 a month protein shake pack and I'll be in the program. I was like,
damn it.
Fuck, this is not a good plan. I'm thinking this in my head. And Marty goes, why don't you go think about this a little bit more and call me back tomorrow?
Stop.
So I literally, I end the call. I go back to the drawing board. I'm like, fuck this Visala shakes thing. I'm just going to launch a program. So I call Marty back. I'm like, all right, dude. No shakes. You're like, good move. And I was like,
do I have to drink the shakes?
Oh, yes, that too. Do I have to drink them to be in the program? I was like, another fucking good question.
Talk about not believing in yourself.
They were terrible shakes.
Terrible. And I was like, God, I've not thought this thing through really well. So I come back to the next day. I was like, all right, dude, 90 days. I got my focus face on. I walked in the desert a little bit, thought through. I said, 10,000 for 90 days. His only response, that's respectable. I'm in. I was like, by the way, I got a friend. I think he should be in it with us. So the second guy comes in is James P. Vreel.
Okay.
His best friend. And Jim and Marty were like the backbone. Those two, shakes. Mike Isom, Greg Anderson, and Kerry Robarge, like the first 5 OGs. Our very first call. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Absolutely not.
We got on a GoToWebinar. We're like, okay, so here's what we're doing for 90 days. We're going to stop fucking lying. Who wants to go first?
It was like a men's group.
Yeah.
It was. And then Jim.
Those guys don't have anywhere to go, like talk
No.
about shit, you know?
Yeah.
Then his wingman he brought in, Jim, just like went off the reservation on our first call. Well, I have a girlfriend in a condo in Manhattan, and I got a wife down in Florida, and I don't know if I want to be with either of them. And we were like, I looked at Martin, I'm like, oh shit, we're doing this.
Yeah. We just went on.
Okay. And then it just went around the circle, and that's all we did for 9 days. We just told the truth.
Wow.
So I am forever indebted to your commitment to believing when it was not, there was no evidence this would work. You know, guys, hundreds of guys a day come in and participate in content or books and curriculum and programs, and none of that is possible if the first crazy person didn't believe with me.
When I answered the door, you're like, I was the first. I was like, no, you were literally the first.
Yeah.
Literally the
Quite
first
literally.
offer.
Yeah.
The first offer made
funny.
for Warrior.
And I just want to say, I had never spent anything on coaching. I wasn't in that world. I didn't go to events. So when you said 10,000, I was like, fuck, I should have gone with the 99. I was like, what?
I should have took the 97 deal and then got him to raise his price.
I was
You were
like,
the one that told him to call you back.
I just was like, I didn't think he's going to be committed to do one-on-one coaching for
Yeah.
like that
For a
cheap.
shake,
For
yeah.
$25 a week.
I was not thinking through it at all. I was just
Yeah.
like, fuck it, let's go. So
But I will say though, making that decision completely changed my timeline, altered the trajectory of my life. I wouldn't be sitting here today with Elise. I wouldn't have the business that's helping thousands of people. Like I would not be the person that I am. And so I am just eternally grateful for everything, for you taking that stand and leading from the front. And it's just so powerful. And I'm just like inspired by you all the time.
And I have to say thank you, because I used to joke with my friends all the time, be like, my future husband, he is married right now and he is going to get divorced and work on himself. And I like spoke it into the universe, and here he is.
You got the new and improved version.
Yeah.
well, I was honored to be part of the foundational journey and just be there in it. It was a special time. The first couple of years of Warrior were it was just a special time. It was a bunch of yahoos getting together. God put us together to figure it out. Little did we realize what all of our lives were going to become and the journeys that everybody in those original groups would take. And so many amazing things have happened for so many guys who are part of that. And we're happy for you to be married and to get a new name and to receive the name in Italy where they're going to say it correctly.
They will.
They will.
No, I'm putting too many rolls of R there. What is it again?
Go for
You've been
it.
in
Go
Miami
for it.
too long.
Exactly. Orificio. So where can they follow you? Where can they go for the supplements? We'll put all that in the show, but anywhere in particular?
Aspire Nutrition, Instagram, aspire.nutrition.
Perfect.
I just have one last question. With all of the stuff that he was doing, like with Warrior and the shakes and all that, what point did you say, like, this is it? Like, he's going to make it?
I knew that from the moment I was dating him.
Okay.
Like I do believe that women marry for the potential they see their man can become.
Yeah.
So when I take ownership of that, I have to help build him up to that man I already know he is.
Okay.
So even though there was bumpy moments along the way, I realized like I'm 50% of the relationship. And so taking that responsibility within myself, there wasn't like one specific moment. It was just like, I know we're supposed to do something big together. Mm-hmm. And so it's been hard, but like I always go back to like, even when things were rocky, I literally would go back to when we were dating and I'm like, no, like I saw him, I know who he is. And I remembered the connection. And so remembering who I was dating, I'm like, I know that like he's the one. And so when things are crappy, I remind myself of that. Mm. And then I do the work to get back on track.
Yeah, that's so important. I love that.
Yeah.
Got a good one.
She's
Got a good one.
But he gets off path sometimes. And I do think it's women's responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's that like wake up warriors, because literally like I have to remind him who he is constantly. Because he's constantly becoming a bigger version of himself. And I'm like, you can never stop growing. And when if you stop growing, you start regressing. And so like I literally like when he talks about wake up warrior, like I take a heavy responsibility that like I'm also responsible for all these men's lives. Because if he doesn't rise and if he doesn't do this, then he doesn't impact.
Yeah.
So I feel like at some core level, like I'm a part of that. I'm like, no, you're not done. No, I don't care the houses and the cars. We're not done. We can still do more. We can still impact more.
Yeah.
And I think that men, it's hard for men sometimes to receive that because they're like, what are you talking about? I'm providing and I'm doing all this. And so for women, it's hard to be like, you are, and it's amazing and I love you, but guess what? We're going to do more.
Yeah.
So.
I love
Great
that.
question. Taking the show on.
I know. It's like,
Great
wait,
answer.
are you interviewing us?
No, ours is doing great. Well, you have had a special treat in this show. You're going to feel the tone and tempo is different. We bring different couples here, and particularly this amazing couple that's so dear to our heart and close to my heart, in what their role has been, but also the impact they're making, but the journey they're on. The best way that you can support the show, it's not even buying shit I'm selling. The best way you can support the show is to actually share it up. Because you have no idea the number of couples that we have seen around the world who listen to this show and their marriages have improved because we create conversations and containers here that allow you to have permission just driving down the road that you can now have with your spouse and your future partner or your fiance in a different angle than you could possibly right now. So share the show up. You know what to do with that piece. That's easy. On top of this, we also got a free book, Warrior Book, at warriorbook.com. It's the beginning entry stage for guys learning how to live the Warrior's way. We have women doing it too, predominantly men, to help guys like Marty and myself even faster. What took us a long time of work is happening now in a year for guys that used to take us 6 or 7 or 8. So you can start. A good place to start is Warrior Book. I'll send you a free copy. So go to warriorbook.com. So hear from our amazing new Orificio couple, soon to be Italian married, and from myself and Danielle. That brings this show to a wrap. This is another episode of the Date Your Wife podcast.